Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Friday. Again. End of April. Again. Or something like that. I think I've been doing these Friday mornings for about a year now. It must be a year now. I'll have to check the date. I'm sure it is. Good morning, Carla. Good morning, husband. As always, if you are watching, please do say hello. Good morning, Harmony. Good morning, Jane. Tea. Good morning, Rachel. Good morning, Lani. Good morning, Christine. Good morning, Martina. Wow, lots of people here bright and early. Good morning, Erin. Hello to you all. To Pete and Eric, of course, yes. Pete's working hard. Eric's probably not working hard. He might be chasing a few pigeons in the garden, although he did chase a cat this morning. Good morning, Beck. Good morning, Sue. Sorry, need my cup of tea first. Good morning, Karen. I say that like I've only just got up. I've been up for a couple of hours. Good morning, Leslie. Welcome to Friday. Feels like a bit of a slow, relaxing Friday, actually. Not a lot of energy today. Good morning, Vanessa. Or perhaps it's just me that's on a go slow. Good morning, Christine. Can't believe it's Friday again. I know. Where did the week go? It's mad. It's absolutely mad how quickly it goes. And it is very lovely to be chatting with you all again, as always. Good morning, Helen. Good morning, Jay. Yeah, I think this whole year's gone quickly so far. You know, nearly at May. What's that all about? Haven't been hit by the Beltane energy yet. I'm waiting for that to happen. I feel decidedly unenergetic today. Perhaps later on it will hit me. She says, hopefully. Got baking to do today and housework. Perhaps that's why I'm not feeling energetic, because I know there's housework to do. Could be. Lani says, no, lovely, isn't you? I'm having a need to try and wake up today. Lots of tea and biscuits, I think. Always tea and biscuits. Any excuse for tea and biscuits. I will take your advice, Lani, as always. You are very wise. Good morning, Tanya. Jane, love your Friday banter. Sets me up for the day. It does too, Jane. I know that I'm feeling a bit unenergetic now. Once I've got chatting with you guys, it will perk me up completely. It is the highlight of my week. Good morning, Xenia. Xenia's having a cup of tea too. Excellent. Martina needs some oomph. Yeah, we definitely need some oomph today. Bring on that Beltane energy. That's what I say. The garden's got plenty of it. So if Mother Nature could share some with us too, that would be fabulous. Thank you. Just asking. I've got my mint and licorice tea. That'll perk me up. Good morning, Dawn. Good morning, Giselle. Yeah, Christine says the full moon has washed many people out, I think. Yeah, it was definitely a powerful one this time round. Good morning, Maria. Maria, you sparked the subject for the talk today. So it's all your fault. I will reveal more in a moment. Jane, I know when I'm fully awake, the knitting needles crank up to full speed. Still socks? Xenia, your Friday morning chats are the highlight of my week too. Oh, bless you. It is. I absolutely love chatting with you guys. And what started out as a let's sort of fill my time because, you know, I'm missing being at the festivals and running workshops and talks and things, has turned into a great big friendly community chat once a week. And I love it. It won't be the same without you guys, obviously. Giselle is just about to get toast and coffee. It sounds like a perfect combination to me. I've had herbal tea and bran flakes. That's not quite the same, is it? I will be making cake later, though, obviously. Good morning, Eva. Yeah, Pete and Eric downstairs. Vanessa says, coffee for me, otherwise known as wake up drops. I don't really drink. I don't like coffee on its own. I love a caramel latte, provided that it's only got one shot of coffee in it. I am a bit of a wuss when it comes to coffee. Lani's finished knitting her scarf, now working on a shawl. Excellent. Your scarf photo looked fantastic, Lani. I am in awe of anyone that can knit or crochet. It's just, it is magical, definitely. Sue says, good evening, wonderful start to the weekend for me. I love your teacup. Thank you. Yes, it is. It's very expensive. It's a Le Creuset one. Bit of an extravagance, but it is a lovely shape and it holds lots of tea. Jane says, so many socks. My sister gave me a sock advent calendar she put together herself, and I started it this week in time for our celebration on May 23rd. The first scrappy sock is looking good. A sock advent calendar. Excellent. Fantastic idea. Genius. Good morning, Trudy. Having Weetabix and blueberries will soon feel sprightly. That sounds very healthy. Beck says, coffee for me, and hubby's making me some poached egg and avocado on toast. I could do with that right now, Beck. If your hubby's cooking, send some round. That'd be very much appreciated. Thank you. Rachel says, totally agree. I love your chats. Always look forward to Friday mornings. I've got myself comfy with a cuppa and I'm drawing out lots of new hairs today. It's that time of the year, Rachel, isn't it perfect? For anyone that's not heard me talk before or living under a rock, Rachel Bailey is pixie made and she makes the most amazing silver and gemstone jewelries. They really are very, very magical. And I love the hairs. Hairs is perfect for this time of year, Rachel. Absolutely perfect. Do have a look at her Facebook page. Vanessa, I can have a go at teaching you to knit or crochet if you like. It's very kind, Vanessa. My mum has tried to teach me to crochet. She is a crochet wizard. I don't have the patience, really. I don't think. I can knit very basic. But I get very bored with it very quickly. And when my mum crochets so beautifully, it's just much easier to ask her to make it for me. I can sew if that helps. But thank you for the offer, Vanessa. Good morning, Mitch. Looking forward. I'm having a tarot reading with Mitch Garlington this afternoon. Very much looking forward to it. Let's see what the future holds, shall we? You're very welcome, Rachel. Your jewelry is amazing. Jane, I got the decaf coffee you recommended from Germany and it arrived in form of beans. So I'm smashing them up with the pestle and water. Haven't got the strength right yet, but getting there. Interesting. Decaf coffee. Is that kind of, I don't know. Isn't that like having low-fat chocolate? I don't know. I'm not a coffee drinker, so, Beck's husband's going to bring the camper van and make you some on the drive. Excellent. I like his style. Xenia is a pixie-made girl there. Excellent. Love my Raven Crow pendant. Brilliant. Yes, I always wear my wild boar pendant and trying not to tip my tea everywhere. You've seen this before, haven't you? My wild boar bracelet too, which I wear all the time. My little piggy. It's even got a little diamond eye as well. Fantastic. Oh, there's a link to the Pixie Made Facebook page. Thank you. Yes, looking forward to it, Mitch. Thank you. Lani likes coconut latte. Haven't had a coconut latte before. That'd be interesting. Oh, Maria says Lidl are selling coffee grinders quite cheap at the moment. Excellent. I have got a coffee grinder. I use it for grinding my magical herbs and spices. It's never seen a coffee bean in its life. Although I do use coffee in magic. I don't drink it. I use it for magic. But excellent. Thank you for that, Maria. Coffee grinders are really handy for herbs and spices. Right. Let's get on with it, shall we? Let's get on with it. Jane's off. Don't go yet, Jane. Leslie only drinks decaf coffee and tea. It tastes just as good. I will take your word for it, Leslie. I don't really like tea or coffee. I actually only really like the caramel syrup in a latte, to be honest. I have been known to order caramel latte without the coffee before now. Yeah, that's what Maria bought hers for. They are excellent, aren't they, coffee grinders for magical herbs and spices. Tanya has been listening to your videos through the week. It picks me up again. Excellent. Thank you, Tanya. I'm so pleased. If you have missed any of the talks, and there are a lot of them now, we have been going for a year doing this, and I do other odd ones in between. They're all over on my YouTube channel, so you can play catch up with those if you want to. And as always, if you want me to talk about any subject in particular, just drop me a line, drop me a message, ping me. That's my phone buzzing. We'll ignore that. I remembered to turn the sound off today, so you didn't get Jimmy Somerville playing for you, which I'm sure Maria would be horrified at. And actually, today's talk was inspired by a teacup. It is a fabulous teacup that I was sent as a gift this week. I don't think the camera's going to pick up on it very well. It says The Odd Botanicals. It's fabulous. It arrived in the post. A very strange lady with a hat on that looks like it's got a cucumber on the top. And lots of botanicals around her. And around the inside, you can't see because the camera's not going to pick it up. There we go. Is a garden to walk in is an immensity to dream. It was a second-hand one that someone found, a very lovely lady found in charity shop and thought of me. I looked it up, actually. It's made by a gin company, which is rather fabulous. Botanicals go in gin very well, don't they? But this cup inspired the talk today. Xenia said 80s music is all good. I am. Left school in mid-80s and never left, really. Never left the 80s pop music. I absolutely love it. Yeah, the teacup is fabulous, isn't it? She saw it and thought of me, which was lovely. Miss you. But it inspired the talk today. In the last couple of weeks, I have talked about, last few weeks, I've talked about the magical energy of things. Stones, pebbles, shells, feathers. I've got a few more subjects to talk on as well, magical ingredients. But this cup inspired me to talk about the energy of other items. We work with pebbles, we work with shells, we work with feathers. We immediately, I think, about magical energy within plants, within trees, within all the natural things like that, crystals that we work with. I have some crystals. Actually, I've got some lovely box of crystals that had some of these lovelies in from Freya's Cauldron. She does a crystal box once a month. Very, very well worth the money. I've got them all here because I haven't put them away yet. But we're used to working with the energy from those things. But what about the energy from household items? If you work with animism, as I do, in that energy is in all things, it is literally in all things. And although these items have their own energy, they also carry history as well, particularly if you're buying items or sourcing items or given items that are secondhand. They will have layers of history within the magical energy as well. So that's what I want to talk about today. So thank you. That was the inspiration. I'm not sure I'm going to do with this cup yet. I had thought it was going to come in the kitchen, but I don't think it is. I think it's going to become a magical item. I think it's going to go on my altar as an offering dish, particularly as it has botanicals on it. I think it will work beautifully as an offering dish on my altar. So thank you very much for that. Very, very much appreciated. Everyone likes gifts, don't we? But that got me thinking. We have a lot of secondhand stuff in our house. It began with a sideboard for our TV. We needed a unit to put the television on, and we, like most households, we've got all of the other stuff that goes with it, the Xbox, the cable box, the DVD player. We even had a Wii still at one point. That's a bit old hat now, isn't it? So we needed this unit, and we looked, like you do, online, Amazon, furniture stores, all the various places. Went looking around various furniture stores, didn't see anything we liked at all. In desperation, we went to a charity furniture shop, and we struck a gold mine, literally. First place we went into, beautiful, beautiful sideboard. I'm not an expert in any way, shape or form on furniture, but I think it's Victorian. It has beautiful twisted legs, it has inlay, it has brass fixtures. It is beautiful. And we got it for 35 quid. which is ridiculous. And it's perfect. And that actually started a bit of a journey. Each time we needed a new piece of furniture, then we didn't even bother looking in all the new shops. We've always got our stuff since then from charity shops. And not only are they all bargains, you're doing the recycling thing as well. You're doing the whole eco-friendly thing, because the pieces of furniture all need homes. I have the most massive sideboard. It is like that one, but older. That's obviously a bit more modern. I say a bit more modern. We bought it when we were first bought the house, so 25 years old now. Solid piece of wood. It's massive, and we got it for 100 quid, which is, you can even buy the wood for that, and it's all handmade. That one's downstairs. All sorts of things. We've got various different pieces of furniture, sideboards and units, and my altar actually is an old chest of drawers. I'm looking over here, you can't see it, but it's over here. Chest of drawers. It's got old brass fixtures on it. The top's got lived in stuff on it, if that makes sense. It's obviously been used. I think it was used in a school actually. And it's lovely. It's got character, but it's a solid piece of wood, but it has character. It's got a personality. And it was silly money. In fact, the desk that my computer is sitting on at the moment was from the charity shop. It's got loads and loads of drawers. It's a solid piece of wood. The top was a little bit worn. I just sanded it down and oiled it. But it has character, and it has a history. And each piece has an energy to it, and you can connect with that energy, which you can't really do with new pieces of furniture. They do have an energy of sorts, but definitely not the energy and the history that the older pieces have. Maria needs a sideboard for all my craft things and an altar. Definitely charity shops, Maria, definitely. Leslie, my friend found a cup, saucer and tea plate set in a really old abandoned house in Dunoon. It was at the bottom of a cupboard. I'd love to know the story of it. Well, there's the thing. Because they all have history, because they all have energy, you can tap into that and find out what it'll tell you its story. Christine inherited a 50s sideboard. It has rose carvings on it and absolutely love it to bits, although the door used to open on its own until I told it that I now own you and please stop opening. It stopped. Love it even more now. But that's it, isn't it? I think some of these pieces of furniture just need a home. That's all. John, good morning, John. Louise, not old hat, still doing a great job. Oh, with my campaign, less fat John, we fit board. Yes, our eldest actually has it in her flat now, and they love playing Mario Kart on it. Lani's looking for a new one too. Yeah, charity shops, definitely. Xenia, when I first learned about the inherited energy of secondhand items, especially jewellery where the pre-owner had serious illnesses, I started being wary of buying stuff from the flea market. I wasn't sure if I could remove possible harmful energies properly. I will cover that, Xenia. I will cover that. I have a story. Tanya says the quality of furniture is real, not like the rubbish they sell in shops nowadays. That's it, isn't it? That's the reality of it. That's what we realised, that a lot of the stuff that you buy now, even the expensive stuff, I mean, that sideboard wasn't cheap and it is solid wood, but the back of the cupboards is still really thin board, basically, whereas all of the stuff that we bought secondhand is absolutely solid wood. You know that from trying to lift it. And of course, it's not flat pack, so you don't have to build it either, which is quite stressful. So the energy carried within the furniture itself, it has its own personality, but it will also carry the history. And it is interesting, actually. I have a couple of stories for you. My husband and I went out to a garden centre, like you do, and this particular one had some leftover bits they were selling from a furniture sale they'd had. There were a few odd pieces, literally just shoved in the corner of the garden centre. And there was a solid coffee table, for want of a better word, literally just a lump of tree trunk, basically, but all polished up. But it wasn't. It had been left there, and it obviously hadn't sold, and it hadn't been looked after, and it was all dusty, and the energy from it was so sad, and I got quite upset. And a couple of days later, my husband went back on his lunch hour and bought it home. And the relief that I could feel from this piece of furniture when I took it in, cleaned it, oiled it, gave it some attention, it was happy. It was so relieved to have been rescued. And that still sits in our front room now. And actually, the knots and the gaps in the wood, it looks like it's got a face on it. So it really has got a personality. But you can pick up on some bad stuff. I had a friend who wasn't magical, wasn't spiritual, but knew that I was into all that stuff. She'd been given a necklace, an amethyst necklace, but she said it felt wrong. It felt, every time she held it, it was uncomfortable. It was in a nice little box. She'd not actually taken the necklace out of the box because it felt so uncomfortable that she didn't want to touch it. So she asked if I could do something. And sure enough, it was. As soon as you held the box, you could feel the negative energy on it. It was actually a fairly new piece, I think, but it had a lot of negative energy with it. So I cleansed it, did the whole cleansing with smoke, sat it on a big piece of crystal quartz for a few days. And when I'd finished with it, it was absolutely fine. And she said she wore it as soon as she got it then. And she wasn't spiritual or magical, but she'd picked up on the fact that it had a negative energy to it. So it is possible to cleanse it. You do have to be careful. You will know as soon as you're going round, you'll know pieces will call to you, pieces you'll walk straight past. If you're in tune with that kind of stuff, then you will know. But everything does have a history to it. The sideboard that we bought for our television, I get the impression that it was owned by an older lady. I think it was then shoved in a garage for a while and neglected, basically. It was looked after properly at one time. You get the feeling that it was loved by this little old lady. You can tell that from the brass fixings. They've all been polished and there's old brass polish still left in the gaps in between them. So it was looked after, but it had obviously then just, I'm guessing, a house clearance of something like that, because the story that I got from it was that it sat in a garage for a long time after that. So that was very pleased to come home with us. So you can pick up on the energies. And if it feels funky, then don't buy it. If it feels that it wants to come home with you, but it's a bit unhappy, cleanse it, clean it. I mean, they're secondhand pieces of furniture. You don't know where they've been, literally. So bringing them home and giving them a good clean will probably, in most cases, turn the energy around anyway, because most of them will have been neglected. So a little bit of TLC will change the energy of them anyway. Jane says, even wool can have bad energy. I bought some purpley grey wool in 1980 to knit a jumper. It went wrong time after time, so I pulled it down. Then I used it to knit a jumper for my niece. Dropped the wool in a pub and the knitting in the car park and had to go back for it. I've just finished knitting a grueling pair of socks with it that went wrong umpteen times. I'm going to do a cleansing ritual on what's left. Yeah, it's obviously picked up energy from somewhere, Jane. It's funny, isn't it? It was obviously not happy. Perhaps it doesn't want to be knitted. Perhaps it just, I'm special wool. I don't want to be knitted. But yeah, cleanse it. Yeah, I'm sure it'd be fine afterwards. Good morning, Summer. Zinnias, so sweet. Yes, a rescued piece of furniture. And I think that's what a lot of it does. A lot of it has been house clearanced and left in warehouses or, neglected in the corner somewhere. A lot of it just wants a little bit of looking after. Jane says, we've got a rescue cupboard, restored it in 1971, found a base for it 43 years later. Cupboard's Edwardian base is home base flat pack with much older handles put on the drawers, but the two were made for each other. It is a bit of a tension, isn't it? It needed to be whole. Yeah, perfect. Maria says, my mum and dad still have these wooden wardrobes where one of them used to scare me because the markings look like faces. You can't you? And some of the more intricate ones, you can see faces and things. That's too many stories from Narnia with wardrobes. Summer says, I've avoided certain antique and curiosity shops due to the energies around the doorway. I think you're probably going to find that in some of them, aren't you? Because what a collection of energy there's going to be in shops that have got secondhand things inside them. Each piece brings its own history with it. And if you're not like us and you don't pick up on that stuff, you're not going to know to cleanse it or, you know, pay them a bit of attention. So, yeah, I trust your intuition on this one. Do trust your intuition. Christine once went into a shop with African wooden items in it. They had voodoo dolls and I went to pick one up and got electric shock from it. Promptly got dropped. Yeah, I'd drop it too. We know, don't we? We're keyed in us lot. We know what to look for and what not to look for. But yes, it's possible that, you know, things will have negative energies to them. One other interesting thing that we had was some tarot readers do like to hold a piece of jewelry because jewelry is very personal and that's going to hold all kinds of energy. I've got a brooch that my grandmother had. I've got the badge from my great uncle's RAF hat. Both of those hold the energy of my relations. Brilliant for doing ancestor work to make connections with them. But all old pieces of jewelry hold onto energy quite strongly, probably because they're very personal and because you wear them. They're close to your body, so they're going to pick up on your energy. But I went to a tarot reading many years ago now. A tarot reader asked to hold a piece of jewelry to connect with my energy while she was doing the reading. At the time, all I had on was my wedding ring and my engagement ring. So I gave her my engagement ring. She did the tarot reading whilst holding my engagement ring. And some of it was good. Some of it made sense. But there were quite important parts of it that made no sense at all, weren't relevant to me and just I didn't connect with them at all. And it was quite odd. Finished up the reading. That was that. It wasn't until quite a few years later, really, that it suddenly hit me that my engagement ring is secondhand. We bought it in one of the little shops in the lanes in Brighton. And it had been pre-owned by someone else. I don't know exactly how old it is, but the design is quite Art Deco. So somewhere around 1920s. So it would have had at least one previous owner before we bought it. And I wonder now if that lady doing the tarot reading was picking up on the energy, picking up on my energy, because I'd worn it for quite some time by then, but also picking up on the energy from whoever it was that owned it beforehand. I do wonder that now. Hopefully, otherwise it would just been an awful tarot reading. Sue has a set of hanging knives, forks and spoons, one of which was lost. After 25 years, we found an odd one at a charity shop for 10p. Excellent. It obviously wanted to come home. Beck's hubby recently renovated a cabinet. He put a vivarium for our bearded dragon into the bottom, extended it and added crystal palms and flat bottom fossils as handles to the doors and drawers. That sounds amazing, Beck. Absolutely amazing. Giselle has a beautiful Singer sewing machine from the 1960s and a black box record player from the 50s. Fabulous. I love that they have character and personality because craftsmen made them. Yeah, I think you will find that a lot of the stuff, older stuff, is beautifully made to last, basically. I can't, without doing down the IKEA shop, I can't imagine a lot of IKEA furniture is going to still be around in 100 years, but you never know. Never know. Xenia, many years ago, I went to a local sailor curiosity museum and shop where the owner collected lots of items he got from sailors all over the world, also African wooden items and figures with nails in and other ritual items. The energy felt awful. Nevertheless, I bought a cowrie shell bracelet and a small Indonesian wooden masks. Always felt uncomfortable with them, got rid of them eventually. They were probably all right. I suspect they just picked up on the negative energy that was floating around in the museum, because things do pick up of each other. Well, we know how energy works, doesn't it? It does affect everything. Jane says, take some protection with you and brave going in. There might be something in there that's crying out for you to rescue it. Yes. And other energies are trying to stop you. Don't let the baddies win. I like it. Yes. Perhaps there is something in there that's meant to be for you. Put up your psychic shields. Take a protective crystal with you. Yeah. Summer says, I do wear protection, but it's the message of no entry have been dominant in some places. Gut instinct, isn't it? You have got to trust your intuition. You have got to trust your intuition. If it does feel really hinky, then don't do it. Christine says, jewelry is the worst for me if it's secondhand, as I pick up on the previous owners and their ailments or energies. Can't do it anymore. Yep, absolutely. And that is a bit, it's psychometry. Basically, this is all psychometry. It is about picking up on the energy that's stored in these items from other people. And it covers everything from jewelry through to cups, through to plates. And I picked up a few bits out of their cupboard just to show you. I have a secondhand candle holder, which is lovely. I bought that at one of the markets. It's got obviously a bit of you can see it's got boar's teeth in it because this is the candle holder I use for my spirit animal guide. That's my totem. Spirit animal guide, wild boar candle. He likes pink, it's just one of those things. I got some other bits and pieces here. I love odd crockery. Forget the dinner services that all match. I love odd crockery. I've got a tea plate here from France. I didn't buy it in France, but it's come across from France. Porcelain. It's got the name of the little town on it. Tea plates, things like that. I have some dishes. Hayden Hall. I've only got 2 of those. I've only got 1 of the French plate. I'm actually looking for some more now that the charity shops are open. We need some more dinner plates and we need some more bowls. And I want to go and get odd ones. I don't want a matching set. I want odd ones from the charity shop. Because I want that history, because I want that personality. I want that individuality. Might just be me. Trudy, Mum had a 70s Turin. I went to a charity shop in town, saw that Turin in window, had to have it, childhood memories. Found later that Mum had put it in the shop, so you brought it back. Excellent. See, these things come round. They do come round. So anyhow, I also think that these items carried the energy of the museum with them. Yeah, the bracelet and the mask were small tourist items, nothing special. Yeah, they'd obviously picked up on the energy from the rest of the items. Maria says, I cleanse everything that come back to me, even new items. Yes, I think it is a very wise thing to do. If you buy things, do cleanse them. Just, plates and cups and things, you can just cleanse them by washing them up. Bit of fairy liquid, job done. But yes, if anything feels a bit hinky, do be very wary of it. But yeah, cleanse everything that comes into your house, even the new stuff, because you don't know who's picked it up in the shop. Yeah, and any amount of snotty-nosed little children could have been touching your plate or your cup before you buy it. Xenia says, I think secondhand jewelry is more problematic than other items because we wear it all the time. Yes, it picks up on really direct personal energy, so it is going to hold more of that. Jane said, I bought a tiny brass Cornish piskie in the 60s and never felt happy with it. It just felt unlucky. Interesting. Obviously had something negative attached to it. Jackie says, I tend to Reiki cleanse secondhand items. Yes, if you're trained in Reiki, it's brilliant for cleansing. If you don't work with Reiki, then you can use visualization, do a bright white light, any color you like really, to cleanse it all. If it'll take it, salt, or just say hot washing up liquid and water. Smoke, cleanse with smoke. Any way that really you'd cleanse any of your crystals or anything like that. You could put it out in the moonlight, put it out in the sunlight, whatever you feel it needs, really. With furniture, like the desk that I'm using, it needed a bit of a sand, and then I put some oil on it, and that was absolutely fine. And she was very, very happy to be looked after. Told me her name was Sheila while I was sanding and oiling her. So yeah, that let the pieces of furniture or items tell you what they need. I think that goes with anything really. Let them tell you what they need for cleansing or for looking after. Christine loves odd plates too, especially when it's floral. yeah, I did just, the idea of lots of odd plates, all with a different story or a different history, just appeals to me. Christine says, if I buy new clothes, I always wash them first too. You're really good, Christine. I'm a bit lazy to do that. But yes, definitely a good idea. Jackie says, sound, singing, bowl, drum would be useful too. Yeah, there's lots. I've got a blog on Pathos, my Pathos Pagan channel, about ways to cleanse, all different ways to cleanse. There's lots of different ways to do it, but be guided by the item and what you feel it needs, because each item might need different things. One other fun story I have, when I was a child, my dad used to go to a lot of the auctions, were fashionable then, furniture autumns. He used to get some amazing bargains. And my parents' houses are full of old furniture. They don't buy new. It's all very, very nicely done, I have to say. My mum has got a great eye for detail. But my dad used to buy all these bits of furniture and come back with them. And he bought me a dressing table, and it was fantastic. Huge, great big oval mirror, loads of little drawers in it, loads of big drawers in it, a really lovely dark wood with all inlay around it and nice handles and stuff. And while he was cleaning it up, he found a little secret drawer. And inside the secret drawer was a silver bangle, which I've still got today. It is a solid silver bangle. I'm going back to the early 80s now, so I don't know how old this is, but it is really solid and it's got the silver mark on it, and I wear it quite a lot. That was in the drawer, along with a little metal pencil sharpener, which was obviously quite old, in its own personalised little leather pouch thing, and a pair of false teeth, which he wasn't quite so excited about finding in there. But you never know what treasures might lie inside. He also came back once with a very nice jewellery box, wooden jewellery box. And when they took that, opened it all up to clean it, they found a secret compartment in that with wads of cash in it, which is an excellent find. I haven't found any of those, unfortunately. But there you go. John says, most of my allotment tools are secondhand because they're better quality and they've been broken in. You can also replace a handle or two. Yep. Never thought about the energy, but they must have good attached to them, as they're always thriving. Yes, I think particularly with things like spades and tools for the garden, usually gardeners look after their stuff, don't they? And they're very much connected to the earth. So I'm not surprised that it's got a good energy. Jane said, we have a lady called Sheila here too. She died on the spot where I sleep and sometimes comes through and makes a cold patch there. I just ask her to budge up so I can sleep. I sense she sees the funny side of things. Brilliant. Brilliant. Good morning, Kay. Jackie says, when I lived in Malta, the house was a house of character, so full of antiques. I had to sell them when relocating, but loved the stories. Yeah, I think for me, that's, you've got the positive eco side of the fact that you are recycling, reusing, and not spending money or buying new stuff that's very eco-friendly. But for me, it is the history of it. And quite often you are rescuing stuff too, which is brilliant from my point of view. I love to rescue things and everything. Maybe it's just me. Talk to the furniture, talk to the house. Talk to all sorts of inanimate objects. But for me, it really helps. I really feel that I'm helping, that I'm doing, that I'm connecting to all kinds of things, really, to, rescue things, basically. But I think the important part is thinking outside of the fact that trees and plants and herbs all have energy, but all of these other things do too as well. If you're going to recognize the energy in all of the living plants and things, then everything else has that energy as well. That's how I see it anyway. But yes, do bear in mind, jewelry in particular can carry the negative energies, but just have a good sort of clear out of it. Good morning, Gillian. My husband's just said, are you calling me an inanimate object? No comment. But I think as well, remember that, from our point of view, magical tools and the items that we use on our altar all have magical energy, obviously, but they can cost a lot of money. You can end up spending a huge amount of money to fill out your altar, to fill out your magical room, and you don't need to. I say this candle holder was, 50p or something from a shop. I'm going to use this lovely cup. I'm sure it's going to be an offering bowl now, which obviously didn't cost me anything because it was a gift. But there are all sorts of things. I've got a mirror here. I've got a black mirror, scrying mirror. The frame was bought from a charity shop for pennies, basically. And I painted the back of the glass, and it's now a black scrying mirror. Cost pennies, literally. I have jars and things. I've got a fab jar here, huge jar here, that I've used for various things. It's actually got runes and symbols painted all over it because it was a manifesting jar at one point. It's redundant at the moment. It will be used for something along the line. Cauldrons. Cauldrons are really expensive, but you can buy old casserole dishes, crock pots, all sorts in charity shops. As long as it's fireproof material, it works brilliantly as a cauldron. Candle holders. So many candle holders from charity shops. They always seem to have a huge variety of candlesticks and candle holders, tea light holders. They can all be purchased from charity shops for pennies. If you work with a chalice, then you can find odd glasses at charity shops that cost you basically nothing. Offering plates, little plates and dishes of all sorts in charity shops. Really, really useful. I love looking through them because you can find all sorts of things and everything has a story with it as well. Kay says, I often smudge the house to brighten the energy, especially after illness. I think cleansing the home should be done regularly as a just matter of course, really. Again, that's on my blog about cleansing with smoke and other things. Jackie, I just love the history, the quality of workmanship. I think that goes with a lot of the older stuff, doesn't it? It has so much more time, effort, care put into it. I am being very sweeping here. I do only mean furniture and items and things bought from big chain stores. There are some brilliant artisans working now, particularly within the pagan area. If you go to any of the festivals and events, there are some very, very talented crafters out there whose items are amazing. Good morning, Joe. Most things I have are secondhand. I think I'm drawn to the energy. Yes, I think we are. If you pick up on energy, if you work with energy all the time, then you're probably going to be drawn to it. Xenia says, I only have the wary feeling towards jewellery and have no problem with adopting other pre-loved items. Yeah, I think jewellery in particular you do have to be more wary of because it is so personal. Trust your intuition. Absolutely trust your intuition. Kay says, some of recent finds started by being on these lives. Yes, posted in the group with shells and hagstones. Yes, do post your pictures of shells, hagstones, nature finds. We'd love to see the pictures of your second-hand finds as well in the Kitchen Witch group. Do post them there. We'd love to see them. Jane, I'd love to find a proper cast iron cauldron without feet so I can use it on the ceramic hob. Haven't seen one. I do have a, it's not a look, I'm pointing at my cup. The cup is Le Creuset, which is obviously got ceramic on it. But I've got a big cooking pot that's made of the same stuff. It's not Le Creuset, it's a knockoff one, a cheaper variety because Le Creuset is really expensive, but it is cast iron covered in ceramic. That might be worth looking into because that would work very well on the ceramic hob. Xenia, love buying those lovely tiny copper cauldrons I find at the flea market and can't walk past one. Yes, I've got one of those. Have loads of them. One is my incense cauldron as to burn spell papers. Yes, and quite a few of the festivals we go to, there are stall holders that actually deal solely in second-hand items. I've got some brilliant candle holders, she says, looking over there, from the markets as well, where they do specialise in. As well, if you're into, can't think of the word for it, taxidermy, that's it. If you love working with spirit animals, then you might find in the charity shops too, particularly in the old junkie shops, animals that might need a home to be loved. I find some of them quite freaky, but if I ever found a boar's head, I would be having it. Definitely. There's nothing you can do about it. The damage has already been done. But if you take it home and look after it, then it will have found a loving home. Christine, the energy of a house when buying them, you feel the right energy when it's in the right house for you. Yeah, it's a big thing about trusting your intuition and knowing what wants to come home with you, isn't it? We do this with crystals all the time. If you're used to going into a crystal shop and just picking out the crystal that shouts at you, the same in secondhand shops. Kay says, I love looking around charity shops and feeling so excited when I find what I want. Not so much clothes these days, but bric-a-brac, definitely. Yeah, I do love shopping for secondhand clothes too. Huge amount of my wardrobe is secondhand, definitely. Maria's the same. Jane, we've got my toxic aunt's jewellery stash in our loft since our house was sold. So there's probably a maelstrom of yucky energy steering up there. Clear it out, Jane. Get it out, clear it out. You might find some very special things in there. Kay says, what are those great big barbecues on a tripod called? I love them, but blimey, they're a pretty penny. Would love a second hand. Yes, they do look like witches' cauldrons, don't they? Jackie says, yes, try Sainsbury's. They do good ones. That's where mine came from, Jackie. I'm assuming you're talking about the big cast iron casserole dishes. Yes, mine came from Sainsbury's. They look like Le Creuset. They act like Le Creuset. They're just hugely cheaper. Maria says, sounds like a conjuring. Yes. Sarah says, fire pits, looking at them too. Yep, fire pits you might find, but a dustbin lid works quite well as a fire pit sunk into the ground. Xenia, I have a pre-loved taxidermy crow and weasel I bought from a former colleague who also was a hunter. They are loved and sitting on my high-board. Yes, I think there is this thing, isn't there? I mean, I wouldn't purchase... I wouldn't say to someone, please go and bop a badger on the head and stuff it for me. Just wouldn't. But if it's in one of the secondhand shops, then they're probably quite old and the damage has been done. Take them home and love them. Give them a good place. And you can connect with the spirit of the animal from them. I've mentioned the word psychometry, and this is it. This is picking up. It is particularly used with jewellery. Quite a few people pick up on a piece of jewellery and they'll tell you the history of who owned it. They'll tell you, they get images, they can tell you the story of it. You can do the same with pieces of furniture. You can do the same with crockery and all items. You can even do the same with houses and buildings. I would suggest that you learn how to psychically shield yourself first. I would recommend that you do a bit of practice with things that you know, things that are yours, things of people that you know first, so that you don't get a shock. And just make sure that you are experienced enough to break the connection if you need to. But it is the art of reading history or experiences and the past life from any object. Usually you hold the item in your hand, which would be smaller pieces, jewellery, crockery, furniture you just touch, or if you're visiting old houses, buildings, put your hand on the wall. I would, again, reiterate, please don't do it if you're not experienced. Start with smaller things that you know the history of before you go tapping into castles and ancient houses that might have horrible histories. You just need to know, you just need to be prepared that if it is something yucky, you can break away from it. Remember that you're always in control with this, though. With anything to do with spirit, with anything to do with past life connections, any of this energy, you're always in control. Break the connection and you're done. Tell it to leave and you're done. You know, you are in absolute connection, absolute control of it. But it's touch, I find, that makes the strongest connection, although it is possible to pick up on energy without doing so if you're experienced or if you're particularly empathic, like if you are in the doorway of a shop and the energy is pretty negative, then you probably feel it hit you before you've even touched anything. Close your eyes, allow the images to come to you. You might see images, you might hear words, you might see history, you might see experiences, you might sense images. You might even see faces, people that owned the item before or who lived in the property. If it's a very personal item, you might even pick up a name or an initial or even emotions. So be prepared that you might get hit with a wave of all sorts of things. If it's an ancient building, you might get shadowy glimpses. I can't speak today. I need new teeth, obviously. You might see shadowy glimpses of people, even when your eyes are open. But it is possible to see and feel all of those history and all of that energy. Just be prepared that it might not always be good stuff. So just be mindful of that. Xenia, taxidermy animals are very old. Colleague even wanted to throw them away. Oh no, see, I couldn't allow that to happen. I would have to adopt them too. You don't want them thrown in a skip. That would be nasty. Christine said, we looked at a house in Bridport and the doors kept slamming when we left the room. Told us definitely not the house for us. Yeah, no, definitely not. I think you feel that a lot, don't you? If you are picking up on energy, if that's what we're used to doing, you walk into a place, whether it's a shop or a house or just an area, you can feel whether it's a nice energy or not. Jane says, when buying taxidermy, check it for bullet holes first. That'll give you an idea of the energy attached. Interesting. Yes, hadn't thought of that. Giselle, my children are horrified by me picking up dead birds and honouring them by bringing them home to use on my altars. I would be very wary with roadkill. I do have a bit of experience with roadkill. I have got some magpie wings. I talked about this in the feather one. They do need preserving properly because they can go mouldy and maggoty very, very quickly and very easily. So do make sure that if you are bringing dead animals indoors, that you preserve them properly. You can look up instructions on Google. Obviously, there's lots of information out there. Well, lots of talk about the big barbecue things hanging on legs. Where were we? The Enchanted Market had some, actually. There was a chap there that was making the metal tripod stands with the cauldrons hanging under them. Fantastic. Loved them. Absolutely loved them. One day I might find space in the garden to fit it in. Giselle did preserve them first. Excellent. Yeah, we don't need people putting dead birds on their altar and lots of maggots getting out. That's not fun. But yeah, it is psychometry. It is about picking up on the history of things. I think a lot of it is about rescuing things. But it's common sense and trusting your intuition, really. Recycling, reusing. I love charity shops. Shouldn't really be shouting about it because you lot will all be in there first now, getting all the best bits. Maria says there are 2 walkways under a rail bridge where I can only walk down one of them as the other has an overwhelming weird energy that almost takes my breath away, so I avoid it. You're London as well, aren't you, Maria? I bet there's an awful lot of places in London that hold on to negative kind of energy, like any city, actually. Any city will be the same, won't it? I think London in particular, because I think of all the, it's ancient, isn't it? The amount of people that have lived there over the centuries and all the things that would have happened there. Yeah, trust your intuition and avoid it. I remember being in my nan's house as a little girl and there was a nasty energy at the bottom of the stairs. I never wanted to go to the loo there because I would have to go through the energy. Often asked mum and dad to make it a short visit. Funny, isn't it? There are often cold spots or negative energy spots in houses or places. Interesting. Now that you're older and more experienced, it would be a different story. Perhaps you could tap into it and see what's going on there. There. Thank you, Beck. Yes, his name is Willie. It is Willie. I'll see if I can find his page. His metalwork is amazing. Yes. I want to say Plasma Willie for some reason. Yes, from the Enchanted Market. He makes amazing metal things. Lani, I have recently been given an old compost bin by someone I work with. Not sure what the energy would be like with it, though. I would imagine if it's just had compost in it, then someone obviously had right positive attention. Oh, dear, new teeth. I imagine that person had the right positive intentions for making compost. So I would imagine it have positive energy with it. But yeah, excellent to use though. Get it set up, Lani. That'd be brilliant. Trudy says lots of layered history. Yeah. Maria says rubbish, I should imagine. I find London particularly fascinating. It's got a really, really mixed and colourful history. Christine says, I have to admit I don't do charity shops. I once did temping work in one. The clothing had a lot of them were gross and fleas. I have a house full of stuff, so don't need out, although I'm throwing out stuff now. The amount of stuff that we throw out for charity shops is bizarre. I always wonder where it comes from. I don't think that we really keep buying more because we just keep throwing out stuff. It's some kind of warp hole or time hole or something where I think the clothes perhaps they reproduce in the cupboards. I don't know. No, I do like charity shops. My daughter worked in one. Actually did her training in there. The words, see, I've lost the words today. I told you the energy is very low today. She did her training in one of those when she was at school. Work experience, that's the term. And she loved it, absolutely loved it. Hopefully the charity shops do have quite strict rules these days about clean stuff and sorting stuff out. But I love it, absolutely love it. Jane says, use it without delay. The energy from such a thing can only be good. From the compost bin, I imagine. Yes, oh, thank you. And Bex posted up the metalworking chaps Facebook page, Plasma Willie. Thank you very much. Yeah, he makes amazing stuff. He makes some really brilliant burner things as well, fire pit things. See, I have just not functioning on all four cylinders today. Joe said, a cottage I stayed in on holiday had bad feel where it had been extended. I often, if we are going on holiday somewhere to a cottage or a home to rent out, I often take incense with me to clear the house before we, just. Maria, you're allowed to laugh. Jane says there might be something dodgy in the footings. Yeah, the houses have a history too, don't they? They have such a layer of history. I mean, the house I live in is 101 years old, and there were dwellings here before this house was built. So it's all going to have such layers upon layers upon layers of history in it. I talk to my house all the time. Christine says all clothes that go into shop are steam cleaned, so don't worry about it. Yeah, I think they're all quite on the ball these days, aren't they? John, wishing you all a happy Beltane. Yes, a happy Beltane to you all. Food shopping to be done. We like food shopping. Well, we like food, really. Don't really like the shopping of it, just the food. Beltane blessings to you too, John. Kay, I now live in an old bungalow refurbished that has so many energies. We often feel like people are walking through the place and animals. And my daughter was sitting in the garden with our garage door open and wondered who the heck was in there. Hubby had dedicated the home, so we aren't worried about who they are. Quite nice, really, to have visitors. Yeah, we get them all the time here. When our daughter was very small, she used to see a gentleman standing in the doorway of our living room quite often. She would just look up and say, who's the man standing in the doorway? Most people would be freaked out about that. I just tapped in and realised it was my grandfather, so that's no problem. But most people would have been freaked out about it. Our house is on a line that travels from the sea right up to London, really. So we get quite a few Roman visitors through. We had a workshop here one day with a whole group of spiritually minded people, and one of them was sitting right in the doorway and felt this energy going through her. I had to explain that, the odd Roman chariot carried through our house quite often. It's fascinating. It is fascinating. Beck's mum works in a charity shop. Their regime has been very carefully planned around COVID. Yes, they quarantine everything first and have a steam cleaner to kill the bacteria on the clothes before they go on the shop floor. Yeah, they are very good with things. Oh, thank you. There's the link to our Beltane online live ritual this Sunday. over in the Kitchen Witch Coven Facebook page, 7 o'clock UK time. Do join us, open to everyone. Jane says, my cat Sandra, that's such a good name for a cat, starts looking up at the ceiling and meowing about 11 most nights. She seems to be watching entities moving along the ceiling. Cats and dogs, very, very perceptive to all the energies in the house. Leslie, I'm in a new build and feel very sad that the house has no previous energies. Go beyond the house, Leslie. Although the house might not have a history of energies, the land will. Connect with the land that your house is sitting on, because I'm pretty sure the land will have a history of some sort. It may not have had modern houses on it, but it may have had dwellings on it in the past, and it may have, probably will have, some history of some sort. So go beyond the walls of the house and go into the land underneath it. Yeah, it is a great cat name, isn't it? I like cats and dogs to have human names. So that's kind of it for today. Do make friends with your furniture and your crockery, and ignore anybody that looks at you weirdly for having a conversation with teacup. It's fine. It's all good. It's all fine. Lani says, I think that Amy has a sense things. She's often playing in the corner of the lounge and then start looking at something and laughing. Amy has a special energy, Lani, doesn't she? She doesn't have the preconceptions that we all have. I think she's very special, and she will definitely pick up on those things. Very, very special gift to have. Maria, we see a fast-moving small lady going very fast from the front door towards the bathroom, as if it's a repetitive movement. We have realized it's probably residual energy. Yeah, it is fascinating, isn't it, when you tap into this stuff? Joe, the house may not have energy, but what about the land? I need to type faster. Wise words, Joe. Yes, definitely have a look at the land itself. Xenia, human names for animals are cute. I read about a horse named Jenny and an owl named Walter. Excellent. So yes, do connect with your furniture, with your house, with your plates. See what you can find. Just remember that you're always in control, and remember that you can cut the connection at any time you want to. And if anything feels hinky, just give it a cleansing. Christine says, our house is new, but we feel the energy of a Roman walking through, but they didn't appear till months after we moved in. Now it's filled with our own energy. It's often commented on how nice it feels. It's the land, isn't it? The land will hold the energies. So the land will hold energy histories for eons. So tap into that rather than the house if the house is new. But that's, yes, I think we've covered all sorts of weird stuff again today. Thank you so much for your company. It wouldn't be the same without you guys. Have a fantastic Beltane weekend. Ride that energy. I'm hoping it's going to hit me at some point today. Do share pictures of your recycled, upcycled, antique finds on the Kitchen Witch Facebook group. That'd be fab to see all of your images. Kay recently bought a pendulum and got told it had a name. When I checked on the name, it was a goddess energy called Nina. Yeah, magical items will often tell you that they've got names, definitely. Jane says human animal names, and you can hear Eric the dog barking now because someone rang the doorbell, can protect you from burglars. You can say, see you later, Trev, as you're going out. They don't know Trev's a cat. Trevor is an excellent name for the cat. Definitely. Thank you so much again, everyone, for the echoes of Eric barking in the background. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a fantastic Beltane. Hopefully see some of you at the Beltane Ritual on Sunday. Otherwise, I will see you all next week. Take care.